views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook. It's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. Our little event get-together each week right here on WPSL. And your host right now is Sue Ellen Sanders.
Thank you, Cliff, and it's awesome for you to be back here. We missed you the last few weeks.
Well, yeah, I can't exactly say I had my feet up enjoying a vacation or something, but I guess I wasn't I?
You did have your feet up, yeah. I'm glad your operation went well, and can't wait to see you up and dancing.
I can still get my feet up too. Yeah,
I know. Well, welcome back, and thanks for joining us this weekend. It's the time of year, and how did it already creep up on us? So where it's just about holidays. Well, once you hit Halloween, it's all either uphill or downhill from there. We're looking at Thanksgiving right around the corner here, and when you think of Thanksgiving on the Treasure Coast, one of the things you think about is Mustard Seed Ministry. And I am delighted to have the fairly new executive director, Greg Smith, from Mustard Seed Ministries here. We're going to talk to him and to Stacy Malinowski a little bit later about the feast and about some of the activity. But to begin with, let me welcome you. And you've been on the Treasure Coast for about 6 months now in this position.
Yes, that's correct. And thank you very much, Sue Ellen, for having me today.
And when we were talking right before the show, you mentioned that you had actually worked here in the medical field 25 years ago, so you had a familiarity with this area.
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the things that made me want to come back, because I'd been here before. So,
and the thing I think is unique about this area, and I don't know this for sure, honestly, because I grew up in Miami, I went to school in Gainesville, I lived in West Palm for 10 years, and then I moved here. And that in my entire life, those are the only places I've ever lived. But I think that the Treasure Coast has got more synergy with its social service agencies than any place that I've ever lived in.
That's certainly one of the things that I'm seeing, is how well people work together and how well people share information. Again, I've been here since March, and it's been a blessing for me to be able to reach out to organizations and have people say, just stop by and we'll talk a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit more about what we do, and that's really helped me kind of get my feet on the ground and get started.
And the reason it's really important is because no one organization can meet the needs of any family. And usually when a family is in need, whether it's temporary or they're just on a downhill spiral, there's usually a lot of different things they need help with. And maybe one organization, even if it's Mustard Seed, may not have the answers or the services or the funds for all their needs.
You're absolutely correct. One of the things that we see is, I don't know that anyone walks into our doors that only has one problem or one dilemma to address. So we're definitely seeing people with multiple problems. And just as you say, we help in the ways that we can in our different, we have 16 different programs, and everything from helping with furniture and clothing to health education and gas to go to work, but rent assistance and things. But we still can't address everything, which is vital for us to understand what other organizations provide as well.
A lot of the assistance you provide is short-term or one-time or just really just a hand up. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if Stacy told you beforehand, but the last time that I spoke to her on the phone, we had a client at the Early Learning Coalition who was in our family services office crying because she had a situation where she was homeless and there was a problem with her getting continued after-school child care for her children. It just kept going on and on and on. And she was homeless, it turned out. The root of the problem was because she hadn't been able to pay 1 month's rent, and now she was in better financial shape. She has a full-time job, but she couldn't come up with the first and last month's rent for a rental. And so now she was paying twice as much money to stay in a hotel and have to pay a service money to take her children to aftercare and before care and to school. So it was just one thing led to another, and it was all just about her needing first and last month's rent.
That's correct. A lot of people come to us. We have hundreds that come and call every week for assistance. We help with rental assistance once a year, electrical assistance once every 13 months, and that's kind of our funders put those parameters on because they want us to be assistance to someone and not have them
Not a
rely on.
crutch.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But yes, a lot of people, and as we all know, many people are just one paycheck from being homeless or one paycheck from being starting that downward spiral. So it doesn't take much, especially if a family has children. And so we're glad that we're able to be there to help. There's certain rules to meet, but we help walk them through all of that.
And that's what, I called, and then this poor woman, every place that gave her a number, she'd call and they'd give her somebody else's number and then they'd give her somebody else. So we humanized it for her, Stacy and I. I called Stacy, and Stacy got the ball rolling on her end. So it was a matter of making the personal contact, and I knew, because I knew the mission of Mustard Seed, that you do have 16 different programs, and out of those 16 different programs, short-term rental assistance is one of them.
Absolutely. And Stacy is a wonder at being able to personalize and just bring it home to someone. So it's a blessing to work with her.
She is, and you are in good hands.
Yes, I
You are
agree.
in very good hands. So let's talk a little bit about the overall mission of Mustard Seed and what those 16 different programs and 16 different reasons are for being a part of the program. And we'll also talk about how people who are listening can help and make a difference for people in the community.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Mustard Seed has been serving people since 1986 in St. Lucie County. It was started by 4 churches that realized that individuals working by themselves could never have the resources as if they all got together and put their resources into one place. And that's what Mustard Seed has become. We have very positive support across the community. People, what really helps us, people do donate money, cash money, and that's great. People also donate their furniture when they're exchanging or buying new furniture. They donate things that we're able to sell in our thrift stores, and that goes a long way to us being able to sell things, clothing, furniture, things of that nature, to be able to buy food to provide people, and also to provide the social services. We do, as we discussed, rental assistance and electrical assistance. People don't realize that we have a diaper program for new moms. We have clothing assistance, pantry. I think Monday, we served about 100 people in the pantry. And I say 100 people, 100 families. So, and quite often there's more than one person come at a time. So we have a pretty diverse program that we can provide.
And you have 2 different thrift shops, and one of them just reopened in a new location, correct?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, thank you for mentioning that. We're on this coming Friday, November 22nd, we're having a re-grand opening, and we're at 3130 South US 1 in Fort Pierce, and it's right next door to Sonny's Barbecue. Most people know that as a good landmark.
Okay, people are going to be listening to this show on Saturday and Sunday. So if you're listening to the show on air and you didn't catch it on demand on YouTube, then that Friday's already passed. So that means the Mustard Seed, the new Mustard Seed, is already open as you're listening to this show. But it's a great location right next to Sonny's.
That's correct. And, even if you miss our grand opening, doesn't mean that you miss Mustard Seed. You can come by at any time and just say, please give me the nickel tour, basically, and we'd be happy to kind of show you our community garden in the back where we grow fresh vegetables and through the pantry, how it operates through our warehouse and things. So just stop by at any time to learn more about what we do.
And, you talked about donating to the Mustard Seed thrift shops, but you can also, on the other hand, shop there as
Yes,
well.
that's correct.
Because there's some hidden gems that you find there. It's one of my favorite places to look for old classic books.
Oh, thank you. Yes. As a matter of fact, we just had a great donation just this past week of someone that had been collecting books for a long time, and she says, I just want to provide these so that other people can have the joys of having them as well. And so that's wonderful. We get a lot of things. I'm pleasantly surprised at times at just the furniture. People will decide they've had furniture a long time and want to buy something new, but they've taken really good care of their furniture. The people that come in shopping are looking at a $5,000 bedroom set that they're getting for $2,000 or $2,500. So really a lot of gems and a lot of deals, and we're just thankful for the people in the community that are willing to donate to us for that.
And it's a good opportunity to shop local.
That's correct. And also the paintings. Sometimes we get very unusual paintings that were painted in the area by well-known artists, and someone donates them, and again, you can really get a gem here.
Kitchenware like china, teacups, things of that nature, and you'd be surprised what you could find at the thrift stores. So this may be a naive question, but why is it called mustard seed?
Well, it's in the Bible, Jesus was telling his disciples that if they had the faith the size of a grain of mustard seed, they could tell a mountain to move, and the mountain would move itself. And he was really imparting the fact that you really want to have faith within yourself, and if you do that, you can make mountains move, and you can certainly help people. So that's really where that name started. And we are a faith-based organization, and we feel that what we provide the community is faith in themselves, faith in the community members, and then we have faith that we can do things that maybe sometimes we start off thinking we can't, but we know God's behind us, so we know we can do it.
Some people say, well, if those people are in dire straits, that's not my fault. I don't need to deal with it. It's on them. They probably did something wrong. But there, for the grace of God, go I. You just never know when some sickness, some sudden chronic illness or a car accident or a divorce or losing your job. So many of us nowadays live from one paycheck to paycheck, as you remarked before, and so just one little setback makes the difference.
Absolutely, and quite often it is illness, or it is a car accident where they had a good car to get back and forth to work, and suddenly they're left without one, and they lose their job because of it. So sometimes it can just spiral that a person is caught off guard and they're suddenly needing help. And I've been in social services and nonprofits for many years. One of the hardest people that it is to help is the person that newly finds themselves in that situation, because they have absolutely no idea of who to turn to, and they don't know the questions to ask. And those are the people, when they come in, they just say, I know I need help, and thank God someone pointed me to Mustard Seed.
And, you go into Mustard Seed, and even if that person doesn't fit into any of the 16 different programs and needs that you help, you still know you're connected to the community. You know what else is out there. And so you're able to make referrals to them as well.
Absolutely. And we certainly also use our 211 database and our other resources to be able to look things up even if we're not sure. One of the hardest things on the person coming for help is to be sent across town for something that service no longer provides. So what we try to do is make sure that the service is there when we're sending them, and that it's something that they can get benefit from. Transportation.
That's a good fit.
Transportation is oftentimes very difficult for people needing help, and so we try to make sure that they're not going across town unnecessarily.
That's great. And, if it is difficult, then they might decide just not to do it, because it's also kind of embarrassing to ask for help.
Well, it is. It's tough. Like I said, the hardest people to help are people that find themselves in that situation for the first time. They've always been self-reliant. Everything's gone well for them, but they have an episode in life. So it's very difficult. And so it is a little difficult to have them open up and explain what it is that they need.
So let's talk about the 16 different programs. You mentioned a few offhand, and let's also talk about your funding, how you get your funding. I know you get some of the funding, as you said, through the thrift stores, but you've got to depend on other agencies as well.
We do. United Way is just a super organization for us. We do write grants that they help us with, so they are really the backbone of assistance for us. But we do write other grants to other organizations. I don't want to just call out one, but I'd be here for a long time calling out everyone that supports us. But writing grants and then understanding what the community needs so that it fits well really substantially helps us. And we're starting to look at some federal grants and state grants as well.
The other thing I think with social services is you want to make sure that you're not duplicating services that are already being offered. You can help, maybe if there's a great need for that assistance. And Mustard Seed does an excellent job of kind of filling in the holes.
Well, that was one of the tenets really of the original purpose, was to not duplicate services. We found, and I think this is sort of across the nation, when someone tries to do everything, they don't do anything as well as they could. So we want to put our resources into a few services and make it very organized, and then to understand who else provides the next level of service that the person needs.
So to find out about all the services and the events and the fundraisers and the needs that Mustard Seed has, I know that you have a Facebook page.
Yes, we do. And then we also have a just at mustardseed.com or mustardseed.org, and for our website. And we have a Facebook page. And then also they can just call the telephone, 772-465-6021. And for that matter, walk in. We have two stores, 3130 South US 1 in Fort Pierce and 8311 South US 1 in Port St. Lucie.
So the one in Fort Pierce is near the Sonny's Barbecue. It's in that area there.
Yes.
And how would you describe where the one in Port St. Lucie is? It's in that little shopping center. What's that shopping center?
It's in a small shopping center. It's about a quarter of a mile past Prima Vista Boulevard. And we now have some of the wavering banner signs up, but there's also a tire location there. So that, and again, you have to forgive me because I'm not as familiar with older landmarks and things like that. But it's, like I say, maybe about a quarter to a half mile at the most south of Prima Vista. Yes, and it's on the right if you're driving south.
Also, the other thing that I know from personal experience is if you do have a room full of furniture or some big piece that you can't get to the thrift store and you want to donate, they'll send trucks out to pick them up. They'll set up a pickup.
Yes, that's correct. You can call our number, again, at 465-6021. We'll have somebody work with you so that we'll go out and at your convenience and pick up the furniture. And also people that purchase furniture within our store, we offer the same. For a small fee, we will deliver that furniture out to their homes.
And it's a lot of fun shopping in a thrift store. You never know what you're going to find. One of my favorite things, you're talking about the holidays coming right up. One of my other favorite things to find is holiday clothing.
Oh, absolutely.
From Halloween costumes to Christmas sweaters.
Well, and it's clothing, and it's also just some of the Christmas decorations. At the end of every year, we have a lot of people donate to us, and some of those things are out now so that people can stop in and get really good deals on. And we make sure that everything works. We have a guy that comes in that volunteers with us, and he comes in. If it's electrical, if it doesn't work, we don't put it on the floor. So when you're buying something, you know that it works from us.
The Port St. Lucie location especially, I think, has a lot of really cool wall hangings the last time I was there. I was there for United Way's Day of Caring, not this year, but the year before, and we were painting in there. And that I just kept getting distracted because all the wall paintings that usually hang on the wall for sale were all on the couches. And, I was trying to paint and I kept getting distracted with shopping.
Yes. Well, it's funny, even when we're in there, employees in the store, we're always kind of looking because, like you said, there's never, don't really know when something interesting is going to pop up. Yeah.
Okay. So the feast. Let's talk about the feast because that's coming up right around the corner. It's this Thursday.
That's correct. Next Thursday on Thanksgiving. I don't want to talk about too much. I know that Stacy's
okay.
Stacy really wants to talk about that a lot.
Okay.
But this Saturday we've actually have 200 families that wanted basically to cook Thanksgiving at home. So we're doing packages for them, including a turkey and all the fixings, and so we're providing that this Saturday. And they've already signed up for that. And then on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, we'll actually be opening up, I think it's about 10 o'clock for the public to start coming in, and we're going to have turkeys, gravy, everything you can imagine, the works. That's correct.
All right, so we'll let Stacy and Ronnie cover that. Let's talk about some more of your services and, possibly some fundraisers you have coming up.
Absolutely. Some of our services that people don't realize is we do medical assistance as far as helping direct people to medical care, whether it be sometimes a free clinic that we use. The Hands Clinic is very supportive of us. But also if the person needs gas to be able to make those appointments, we provide the gas money for that. If they need gas to get out of town, if they're going to Tampa or somewhere for other treatment, we'll help provide gas for that. We also do prescription assistance for them. It's really tough to go to the physician and be given a prescription and not be able to get it filled.
Yeah, this medicine's going to make you better, but you can't afford it.
But you can't afford it. Yeah. So 2 weeks later, the physician wonders why you're not getting better. So we do those things to help, and we call ahead. We help coordinate the entire spectrum of getting the services for the people.
Great. And again, people can call or they could just show up. You take people who walk in and, you have an intake where you find out what their needs are, and then you go ahead and see if you need to refer them or if they'll fit in to one of the 16 programs that you do.
Yes, that's correct.
What else do you have?
Just make sure if someone needs to leave the area for some reason, as long as they have someone that they can go to on the other end of the line, we'll help buy bus tickets. We do have people sometimes for their own safety and health reasons that need to leave the area, so we provide that. Again, I've mentioned the diaper program before. We usually, with the diaper program, we provide education and also some, if we have it, if it's been donated to us, from some food products for the babies, depending on their age. We do gas for work. So if you can show us that you've recently have a job but don't have the gas to get there, we try to help you get your feet on the ground by providing that.
And a lot of times when you get that job, you're not going to get paid for 2 weeks or maybe even a month until that paycheck comes in. And, you need to get to work or it's going to be a never-ending cycle where you get fired.
That's correct. The other thing we're doing that I'm kind of bringing in to help expand our programs, I've always told people I want to make sure that we do all the things that Mustard Seed is known for, but they brought me in to some degree because of my medical and dental background and everything. But on December the 6th at Mustard Seed, we're going to be offering a mental health first aid class. And this is going to be teaching people who work with the youth how to recognize signs and symptoms of mental illness. And sometimes it's just severe anxiety and things. But we are going to start to offer those type of classes, diabetes education classes, heart failure classes, just to the public and to people working with people of those needs, so that we can be an education center as well.
So the December 6th class, tell me just a little bit more about that. We just have a couple more minutes in
Okay.
this segment of the show.
Mental health first aid is much like medical first aid. It doesn't teach you to be a doctor, but it teaches you in medical first aid, if you came upon a wreck, you'd know to put a tourniquet on someone to stop the bleeding. Mental health first aid just teaches you, and this is a youth class, people that work with youth, that just recognize the initial signs and symptoms of someone starting to have severe anxiety and other mental illnesses, just to be able to talk to the person and then to, more importantly, guide them to a professional to help them get help.
So you're really looking at, people who work in organizations, the schools and churches, youth groups.
Yes, that's correct. Boys and Girls
Boys
Clubs,
and Girls
Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. And I know that we'll have just some parents come in that are just active members in their churches or other organizations that can be feet on the ground to understand when a child is starting to have some negative activity and recognize that.
Well, we've been talking to Greg Smith, and he is the executive director. He's been on board since the spring, so this will be this coming spring will be his first year anniversary, and he's starting to bring in some different classes too to all the services Mustard Seed already offers. Thanks for joining me, Greg. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more about the Thanksgiving feast that's coming up this Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. We'll be back in just a minute with more. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, we're talking to the folks from Mustard Seed Ministries, and Stacy Malinowski and Ronnie Phillips are now with us, and Ronnie is the manager of the 2 thrift stores that Mustard Seed runs, and Stacy is the program manager. And were your ears burning, Stacy, because we were just talking about you?
That's a little scary.
Yeah. And Stacy and I go way back.
Not that far.
Yeah. Well, a year or two. No. Actually, I've been doing this radio show for 20 years, and she's probably been on it for most of those 20 years. So, yeah. Anyhow, we were talking about how, and Greg Smith, the executive director, was on in the last half hour. He was just talking about how a lot of times people just need a little help just to get started. And then right after we ended that segment, he said something that is staying with me now, that sometimes people are just a little bit under the water. They just need a hand. It's just they're like only 10% of them needs help, and so if you just help them a little bit, then they're 100% okay. And that's what Mustard Seed Ministries offers. So that's really cool. It used to be where I think there was a clear difference between the people who needed help and the people who gave help. And I don't see that anymore in the community. I see that a lot of times the people who need help the next week could be the people who give help. Greg also talked about during the show that the United Way is one of the biggest beneficiaries, the biggest donations. You're the beneficiary. But the thing about United Way that I know from having been involved in their campaign is that sometimes the people who have the least are the ones who give the most, and because those are the ones who have just recently had taken advantage of the services. And the services that Mustard Seed offers vary from something that is just an occasional thing to something that you got to be there, because sometimes people just need that one thing that you offer. Okay, so I've talked enough. So,
And that's right.
your
'cause
turn.
There are 17 services that we provide.
Oh,
And-
Greg said 16.
Oh.
That's okay.
Okay. Well, the Getting Ahead and a Getting By World is a financial stability program, and that's where you're referring to a lot of what you're indicating. The
Yes.
clients that come to us, our clients, a lot of clients are from poverty, and it's a culture of its own. So it depends whether it is a one-time thing that's not been to us before, but some of them realize that that's just becomes a way of life in a way is being able to ask for help. It makes it very easy for them to do that. So it's our job to be able to come in, and after being in business for over 30 some odd years here, that we are really have become very in tune to how to pre-screen them and to be able to get the correct information necessary to understand what their crisis is. And I can guarantee you, most of them, what they call in for as a crisis is not what the crisis is.
And that's exactly right, because sometimes it's almost like you're going to the doctor. You're recognizing the symptoms and not the disease. And, so if you get to the core of what the issue is, then you help to fix that core, and then voila.
Well, it is. And once you pre-screen them and you bring them in and you realize really it's not because you missed 2 days of work, because if your rent's $800 a month and you miss 2 days, then I only need to give you 2 days of pay that will stabilize you, right? Oh, no, I need the whole month. Well, really what it is they don't have enough income. They're living beyond their means. We break it down as far as even determining what their wants and needs are by bringing in their bank accounts, and they have to highlight what their wants are and what their needs are. You'd be surprised what those bottom numbers are, that they can physically start seeing what really caused them to get to the point that they're at.
And it's interesting because we're raising a generation of kids that, are used to their families living beyond their needs. I can remember the first time that I told my kids that they couldn't have something in a grocery store, and I said, we can't afford that right now. And my daughter said, just write a check. Because
exactly right.
Kids are raised, now she was pretty young at the time, but she might still say that now at 25, so I don't know. But our children are raised thinking that there is between, the delay of writing a check and, of course, more often now using a charge card or putting things on layaway or putting things, that's not really done anymore either, putting things on a card. My husband was at a store that is a home improvement store the other day, and as he was checking out, they said, do you have a charge card yet? We can give you X amount of money. And he said, no, I already have a charge card with the store. She goes, well, you can have up to 5 of our charge cards. And, obviously she's getting something from the upsell of that. But if you have 5 charge cards for the same store, you're not being financially sound.
No, you're
You
correct.
spread them all out. Spread the money out on all of them.
100%. Poverty people are going to worry about here and now, this moment, at this time, I don't have my rent, I need my rent, and that's the crisis. So with doing that changes the whole game plan when they do that, because now they're unrational through the whole entire process. So when you sit back and you start looking at them, they really need to, I'll give you a good example, because we had a young lady that when you live in the housing authority and you say window breaks, they put an orange sticker and let you know that you need to get this replaced. Okay, well, they panic because they don't want to lose that house. So they go and they spend the gas money, they spend their part of their rent money to get that window fixed right there and then. And now she has no way to get to work because there's no gas money. And so now she's missed 2 days of work. So she is going to be behind in her rent. But if she just would have looked at the red sticker that says you have 30 days to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of behavior that comes along with that.
Yeah,
And so-
panic. You
and
panic.
It is. So that's why our program, the Getting Ahead and the Getting By World, which is a pilot program we started last year with United Way. And we were very fortunate that allowed us to be able to hire a case manager. And they followed them for a year and removed the barriers and moving them forward in their education and helping them getting into the school, whether it's a GED or enrolling in college. If we if we want a different outcome, we got to make a change. And that change is going to be, well, I'm going to go back to school and work on getting a degree or learning a trade. And that begins a process. And then we give them the statistics. It has to do with it. If you do this, we can guarantee you your children are going to follow you in those footsteps. Who would not want that for their kids? So it's pretty intense. There's 16 sessions that go with this, and then they have an actual graduation, and then we follow them again for that whole year. So when you look at when they came in just about rent, it was so much more about them than it wasn't. So they don't have to take their program. They're able to do that on their own.
So Mustard Seed is not only about the short-term needs,
Correct.
but it's also about the long-term planning for your life, which is awesome.
And it's not just poverty. We have a very vulnerable population out there. So our seniors, are they're not going to make any more money than what they're making.
Right.
And that's a big deal out there, whether it's their prescription they're choosing over their animals and things like that. That's tough. And then you have the disabled population. That's a huge group. People with mental illness and children with autism and all. Those are all other constant burdens in their life that causes them also to become financially unstable.
True. Now, one thing that I want to point out that I reminded Greg too is that this show, even though we're taping it in the middle of the week, it's running. People are listening to it now over the weekend, and I know that the grand opening of one of your new thrift shops happens on Saturday, the 22nd. So, if you're listening to the show on Saturday, you might still have time to get to the. Oh, it's Friday. It's Friday. Thank you. So you can't. If you're listening to it on Saturday or Sunday, you can't get to the event itself, but you can get to the store. And I am assuming, Ronnie, that you probably have some grand opening specials that are going to be going on.
We do, and they'll be continuing on probably for the weekend, probably.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I hope you do. So tell us a little bit about the stores. Greg and I talked a little bit about them. And about the treasures that you find there and the different categories of donating furniture. Tell us how, what are the things people need to know about donating to the thrift store or shopping at the thrift store?
Well, the donations that come in, they're processed and they're priced at a value so that we can sustain, the stores themselves supplement what's going on at the ministry, and whether it's the pantry or whether it's the rent program or whether it's whatever they do, the money that comes in to the thrift stores is very important. And of course, we love our donations. They come in and we get some great stuff. And it's all priced at a value so that we keep repeat customers coming in. So.
And that's the thing too. You talked about repeat customers coming in because there's no way for you to tell what got dropped off that week without coming in.
That's right. You come in on Monday. You come on Tuesday. It could be a whole new store.
Yeah.
Just depends on what shows up at the door, and of course, calling in, and we go out and pick up donations from houses and stuff like that. We have that program going on also.
So if people have furniture or bags of clothing and they can't get it to you, you can set them up on a
definitely
pickup.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, I know that we've donated office furniture in the past too, because sometimes when something is not we had some hurricane damage on some of our furniture, and so we were able to replace it because of insurance, but some of the furniture was still in pretty decent shape. But we called Mustard Seed, and we had the stuff in a storage unit, and Mustard Seed came out and we loaded the things up. Or maybe your needs change as far as office or home, or you got holidays coming up, you got maybe family visiting and you want to get new furniture, but you got to get rid of the old furniture first.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Thanksgiving coming and all that kind of stuff. But it's also, we get donations. A lot of times we get stuff that we can also use, as vouchers for people that don't have furniture and stuff like that. And we make sure that program exist also, so that we can
So they
we
get
can
to
help people
shop
start
with vouchers.
start their homes if they don't have one or things like that. So
Well, that's another way to partner with agencies too. If people say Habitat for Humanity knows that their folks are moving into a home for the first time, then they know that they could do some shopping,
Well,
not just at the resale
the mustard seed
store.
word is out. So when they're going, if they're going to donate to something and they're donating a piece of furniture that they think is very valuable, say, grandma's had it for 100 years and the whole deal, I'm going to get rid of this. I might as well give it to somebody that's going to really appreciate this, that really needs this piece of furniture. And that's how they feel when they give.
Well, how do you guys recognize when something is really valuable and when it's not?
Well, we recognize it by, if we don't know what it is, we look it up.
Okay.
But
That would be a
usually-
fun job.
Usually when a piece of furniture comes in and we look at it, and it's solid wood, or it's
Yeah.
or it's handcrafted, or it's we look at the name, and that name, we know that name.
Yeah.
We know good furniture.
Yeah.
And we look at it and then we say, "Wow, look at that!" And usually we go around and we tell everybody we have it. So.
and the same thing with clothes too, because I've
Yes.
been over there where I can just. I like the way you have your clothing divided up into the
We
sizes.
have the boutique and we
yeah.
have the regular clothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can just come in and quickly go through that boutique and see what name brands are in there. And I know when I was volunteering there that you had a list in the back that had the names that people should watch for
Correct.
on the
Yes.
tags.
Uh-huh.
So the thrift shop both offer the ability to raise funds to supplement the programs, but they also give you the ability to offer vouchers to people who need clothing, who need furniture.
Exactly. Yeah, they can get that through the social services side of it, and then they come to us and we pick out furniture on the floor and of both stores, and that we can use as vouchers and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add about the thrift
Well,
stores?
I wanted to add about the volunteers. We had the volunteers. They're our lifeline at the Mustard Seed, and especially the thrift stores. My ladies and my guys, they're the best that's out there, and to be a volunteer, it's very easy. You just contact the Mustard Seed, and we get you in contact with our volunteer coordinator, and you fill out an application, and it's pretty much that simple. And with the satisfaction of course, helping the community and giving their time and the whole deal, there's lots of other benefits. You get discounts in the store. By
And first
volunteering.
dibs on the
First
good
dibs.
stuff.
First dibs.
No, takes it to the floor first.
Yeah. And we have
Oh, you
volunteer
do?
appreciation events
Okay.
and all kinds of stuff like that. So if that's something you think you can do, I mean, our volunteers are retired. They're retired individuals, or they're seasonal individuals, young people. We have a range of all of them. So
That's awesome.
There's lots of opportunities for them. So they can work in the garden if they don't want to be in the thrift store. They can work in the food pantry. We're getting ready to just change over to a client choice pantry. So instead of us packing a bag and giving them a bag of food, they'll be able to choose what food they want. So, and that's going to require a lot of volunteers. So we're hoping for a big push for that soon. We have a ladies auxiliary that helps us raise money. So we have a big event coming up in December, as well as our community garden, which Dan Hafner oversees that for us right now. So we've got any kind of opportunity they would want, we would have it available.
So you can garden, you
Mhm.
can
You can
be
answer
a shop
phones in the office.
clerk,
you can
yeah.
work in the food pantry, help bag foods. You can get a group. Let's say you don't want to come every day or once or twice a month. You can get a group to come together and do it as a one-time thing. And we've got lots of opportunities for those as well.
a nice little bonding experience
Yes.
too
Bring
to
your
give
children.
back to the community.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best ways to teach your children to give back as
Mhm.
they get older is to demonstrate for them how you
Absolutely.
do that. And we know that's true. In addition, though, one of the things that Mustard Seed is best known for is the Thanksgiving feast. And from the time my kids were really little, when we were here for Thanksgiving, that was something that we went and volunteered at because I wanted them to see from the very beginning that there were a lot of people who didn't have what the opportunities and the food and the needs that that they did, and so they would appreciate what they had. I really don't know if it completely took, but
Oh, I think it does. Mitchell even said to me the other day, he says, so I guess we're not having Thanksgiving again this year, Mom. It's been 15 years. I said, well, and he was 2 years old when we first came out, and he wanted to play with the kids that were there for the children program. And it was funny because I said, okay, it's time to go now. And he threw the biggest fit a child could throw because he wanted to stay and play with the kids.
and play with the kids.
But and we made pumpkin pies, and he was even trying to bribe the kids. Here, have some of my mom's pie. But anyway, but we've been doing it a long time. But that is a great place to be able to take your family, your children, and this started with Carl Junker from the very beginning, 30 years ago, and I knew Carl a long time ago. Well, now I'm really telling you how old I am. But anyway, so
back when you were in high school, right?
there you go. Let's go with that. So anyway, Carl said, there was 3 things that he wanted. He said, I don't want people to be alone on Thanksgiving. That's a day we should be thankful. He says, more importantly, there's people out there that need food, and let's help them. And he says, but more importantly, he said, what are we thankful for? And you should be out there giving of yourself, even if it's for an hour. Those are the 3 things why that feast actually started. And this is our 30th year that we're celebrating this year.
Goodness. And this is the, as you said, it's something that if you're home alone on Thanksgiving and, you have the wherewithal to pay for Thanksgiving, it's so much more fun to join in and to be a part of giving.
There couldn't be anything worse than just being there home alone. And I will tell you, this will stick with me forever. And it was about 5 years ago. We were at the tent. We were saying hello to everybody and serving them their dinner. And there was this man dressed in a very fine suit and a really nice hat. And he kind of walked over to me and he goes, you might be looking that I don't belong in this, in this scene. He goes, but I just lost my wife 2 weeks ago. And I couldn't bear to sit home alone. I hope you don't mind I'm here. No, sir, that's exactly why we're here. So there's a purpose behind it.
So with feast just a few days away, a handful of days away, there's a lot of prep that goes into it, from getting all the turkeys cooked, the pies, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce, and everything. And even if people can't be there to help that day, there's a lot of things that people can do to help.
They can donate a gift card. They can donate monetary donations. They can, in return, obviously come out to the feast. They can also come out on prep day, which is the day before at St. Mark's Missionary Baptist Church between 8:30 and 12. There's always something to do that we can have done there. And stay to do the cleanup. Nobody seems to like to do that part too much, but we make it happen. But the Thanksgiving feast, it takes a lot. If we're talking back maybe 10 years ago, we were doing 15,000 meals. And that's a lot of turkeys and a lot of prep work. But we were fortunate enough that the school board was able to incorporate that into their culinary curriculum. So they cooked all of our turkeys at that one point. Now we're back. Oh, absolutely. So Chef Lewis and Chef Sherelle, there were some amazing things. It truly is a community feast. We don't call it the Mustard Seed Thanksgiving Community Feast. It is truly just the community, because there's so many people that are involved to make it happen.
And, if you're listening to this and you would like to, you could donate money, you can donate gift cards. Can you also bring pies and other food
Absolutely. Absolutely. If they drop that to us before 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, we will make sure it makes it to the table.
What are some of the things that you need?
Well, and again, if they want to bring a dessert, that's fine. If they want to cook a turkey, they can please cook it and debone it and bring it out to us. It goes right onto the grills. We're working with Matt Pescatelli. He oversees the test kitchen out there in the research park, as well as he is the owner of the Flavored Fork. So he makes sure that we're handling the food safe.
Yes.
Yes, nice guy, but really keeps an eye on all of it to make sure everything is safe and what we're doing with it. So
that's awesome. So as you said, it's a community feast. It's not just the Mustard Seed Feast, because everybody's got a hand in it. How many people would you say you fed last year?
I think between because we partner with the Big Heart Brigade and the fire department, so they were handling Midway Road South, and then we took Midway Road North. So together last year was right around 7,000 meals went out.
Delivered.
Mm-hmm. Well, delivered or on site.
On site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If we turn the tent over twice, we'll do about 1,500 on site.
And what time does it start?
Our dinner is at 11 o'clock. So if you're going to come out and volunteer, come on out around 9:30, 10 o'clock, get signed up. And again, just to think that the coffee's coming from Starbucks, Southern Eagle gives us the refrigerated truck, the ice truck. I mean, everybody plays a part in making sure that happens. But yes, 11 o'clock is when they can sit down and have their meal. But if they want to volunteer, they can come out a little ahead of that.
And you can also, bring food by ahead of time. You said by 9:30, 10 o'clock, or the day before.
Or the day before between 8:30 and 12. They can drop it off right in the back entrance. There's a drive-through right across the street from St. Mark's Missionary Baptist Church is where it would be. And there'll be kids there that will take the food right out of the car for you and take it in and get it into the reefer trucks.
And if you have high school kids that are home for Thanksgiving, or college kids home for Thanksgiving break, this is a really good opportunity for them to get. The high school kids can get service hours, and the college kids can kind of have something important to do.
We're really grateful. We have Fort Pierce Central, the football team's coming, and they will be opening all those heavy cans and doing that stuff for us.
That is awesome.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
that's
But
really great.
we've got a lot of stuff going on besides just our Thanksgiving feast. On December 7th is our Silver Bells Holiday Home Tour. So that's our biggest fundraiser of the year. Our Ladies Auxiliary put that on. This year we'll be touring the home of Bob and Donna Benton over on the water on South Beach. And then we'll be going in that for the dessert house would be Joey Miller's from St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it'll
And
be
you
a
still
fun
have
evening.
tickets on
I
sale
do,
for that.
right here.
So you
right
can,
there.
so you can go on online.
Yes, you
and
can.
get them too at mustardseed.org. And then there you have. Do you still do the tea in the spring?
We do our tea in the spring, and then we're also doing a toy drive. I know that the WPSL, I've been involved in that before, but we're doing this with Legit Barbershop on December 14th for downtown
For
Fort
it's
Pierce.
downtown Fort
Yep,
Pierce.
and that'll be serving Suncoast Mental Health children and Mustard Seed Ministries children.
Awesome. So if people want any more information about any of this, they can just go on the website or look you up on Facebook.
But they can give us a call at 772-465-6021.
And Ronnie, any final hints or words about shopping in the thrift store?
The discounts when they shop on the grand opening.
Oh yeah, well the grand opening we're calling it Pop and Shop. So come on down. We're gonna have all these balloons, probably about 100 of them. So come on down and you pick a balloon, you pop it, and whatever's inside there is a discount you're going to get that day.
Oh,
That's on
how
Friday.
cool. I love
So
bargains.
We're looking forward to seeing everybody out there for the re-grand opening. It looks beautiful. The new store is beautiful.
I can't wait to see it. So Ronnie Phillips has been my guest, along with Stacy Malinowski and Greg Smith, all from Mustard Seed Ministries. And as you get closer, maybe in the spring, Stacy, you can come back and talk a little bit about the tea before it happens, and a little bit more about what's going on with Mustard Seed. And thank you for listening. And I won't be back before Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you. If you're in town, make it over to the Community Fest that's going to be taking place again. It's at
The corner of Orange Avenue and 9th Street.
Orange Avenue and 9th Street, and you can go and volunteer, or you can go and eat, or you can go and help and just hang out. Thanks for joining me. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week with more.
Archives of the Sue Ellen Sanders Show can be found on WPSL TV, on YouTube. Just go to WPSLTV.com. Listen in on the weekends for Sue Ellen Sanders right here on Digital 1590 WPSL.